Satu was a lonely and overworked programmer who passed away and ended up in the world of the game he built. However, everything changed when he noticed he possessed maximum cheat skills, so he used his capabilities to defeat demons and seduce dangerous creatures. This story begins with Satu rushing to the office to work on an online game that would be launched soon. Since testers complained about the difficulty, Satu planned to implement a map and a meteor shower skill to make everything easier. This took 3 days of hard work, and on the very last one, Satu faced a highly challenging game. On the final day, Satu decided to get some sleep. Nonetheless, upon waking up, he found himself in a deserted land with no memories of how he arrived there. He pulled out his phone to make a call, but he saw it was not working. Noticing his reflection on the screen, he perceived that he looked younger, so he believed it was a lucid dream about the complex game he was working on. Suddenly, a horde of lizardmen charged toward him, and it was not until one cut his cheek that he understood it was far too real to be a dream. Satu panicked and activated a massive meteor attack that he had previously implemented, but while it charged, he fled for his life, dodging deadly arrows as if they were taxes. Shortly after, the meteor shower activated, and fireworks fell over the lizardmen as if it were a national holiday, causing all of them to become part of universal history forever. When the smoke cleared, Satu discovered that one lizardman survived and wished to fight, so he handed her a sword, and she began to attack savagely. Despite possessing no combat experience, Satu maintained the rhythm of Liza's speed and managed to defeat her with a precise blow. Soon after, he discovered his level exceeded 300, so he decided to test his strength by firing the second meteor skill into the distance. To his surprise, the meteor erased everything from the map, and he was almost caught in the catastrophe. After surviving the explosion, he locked the last meteor skill and upgraded his other statistics like an administrator. He noticed that by leveling up so much, he possessed immense wealth that would place him on millionaire lists, which surprised him. Afterward, he decided he had had enough for the day, pulled a cloak from his inventory and slept next to a campfire. The next day, Satu checked his map and saw a place he wanted to visit, so he ran there at maximum speed. Upon arrival, he noticed a flying wyvern on the map and jumped very high, hoping to see it with his own eyes, but the creature knocked him down. Despite falling hard, Satu understood that he received minimal damage thanks to his pain reduction skill. He threw a stone at the wyvern, and after feeling his strength, the being fled. However, Satu noticed it was heading towards some soldiers, so he ran to warn them. When he arrived, he saw an army of knights and mages working together to attack the dragon. In response, the wyvern threw a female mage far away, and the other mages used a slow fall spell to protect her. Nevertheless, the mage fell quickly, so Satu leaped through the air and caught her heroically. Satu earned a new title and jumped to safety as soon as the mage woke up. After being rescued, she thanked him for saving her life and introduced herself as Xena, also mentioning that she was single. Before he could proceed with the matter, an arrow flew toward him, but he dodged it effortlessly. Xena, who knew it came from her comrades trying to protect her, asked them to stop, but they looked at Satu as if his name were on criminal records. With no other choice, he introduced himself as a traveling merchant, but Iona questioned him about it since she did not see him with any merchandise. Realizing he failed because his items were in his strange bag, Satu lied without hesitation, saying his horse ran away with them and he only had his money bag left. Lying unlocked the bluffing and persuasion skill, so he upgraded them to the maximum and used them to convince Iona, mentioning that his papers were inside the cloak on his horse. After clarifying that, she told him to accompany her to the city of Siryu to obtain his identity card. On the way, Xena introduced her squad as a group sent to investigate the meteor shower, and he understood it was his fault they encountered the wyvern. There, he learned about the usefulness of wyvern skin, unlike the meat, which tasted like damp earth and was offered to slaves. This made him curious about the city food, so he took a population census through his system window and learned there were multiple races. Upon reaching the city, Xena informed him that she had to leave to report to the military forces and promised to thank him appropriately later. He noticed she was very persistent and thought his younger self would have assumed she was in love with him. Afterward, Iona took Satu to an official to review and issue him a new identity card, and once done, he paid the fee and received a 10-day visa to stay. The official instructed him on how to extend it, warning that if he were caught with an expired visa, he would be turned into a slave. With that, Satu offered his thanks, and upon leaving the building, Iona showed him where the inns were located. While heading there, Martha attracted him to her mother's establishment, highlighting her physical attributes, and seeing Mosa, Satu noted he would have been interested if she were not so robust. There, he paid for 10 nights and received cold food for arriving late, and while Martha bragged about her mother's cooking, Mosa sent her to clean the room where Satu would stay. Through the interactions, he learned about the Demon Lord and the hero's battle 60 years ago, and also that dragons were heavy sleepers, unlike wyverns. While he ate, Martha appeared, and he asked her where to obtain clothes and supplies, so she took him to the market. On the way, he saw a man mistreating demi-human slaves, so he intervened and helped them with their luggage. The slaves saw their older companion and told her Satu helped them, so they thanked him and returned to their base. When Satu returned to Martha, he saw her surprised because he interacted with the demi-humans, learning that humans, especially farmers, were often affected by them. While shocked shopping, Satu acquired a common social skill and bought a hair accessory for Martha. Seeing her happy, he understood that if he increased his charm, he would definitely win her over by nightfall. She took him to a shop where he bought a dragon mask and a wig used by people performing plays about heroes and princesses. Just then, he saw a carriage transporting slaves and noticed Arisa, who held a troublesome title. By the time they returned to the inn, Uni, a small assistant, welcomed them and informed Satu that she had taken his luggage to the room. Curious, Satu asked for a bath, but Martha told him there was only a public one within the inner walls that commoners did not use, so they washed at a well behind the inn. After a while, he lay down on his bed before ordering food and some light alcohol. Seeing the food, he was surprised, so he ate and expressed himself like an expert critic, and while drinking the alcohol, he acquired resistance to it. After emptying the dishes, he ordered more and ended up eating too much. That night, while Satu lay in his bed, he spoke about the good life he was leading compared to his previous job. But remembering his journey, he noted that his experience did not match the games and stories he knew. He admitted how much of a fanatic he was in high school and noted he never created a language of his own. Furthermore, it was his first time trying something new, which meant he might not be dreaming. Noticing his condition, he understood that the world was not just a game because, if it were, he could save progress and log out. The doubt arose regarding whether he could return if he finished this game-like world, but such a thing did not exist in a massive multiplayer game. Extremely confused, Satu went out that night to explore the city, and upon reaching the outskirts, he swore to have fun. Now that he was doing something different, exploring the world would help him as a game creator, but finding the way back home was the least of his priorities. With that, he returned to the city to satisfy his insatiable desires. The next morning, Martha woke him up and told him his girlfriend was there to see him. Surprised, he went out and found Xena waiting outside the inn, so he gave her a compliment and asked the reason for her visit. The sincere girl revealed she was off duty that day and thought of showing him around the city. While they toured the city, Satu paid for their food, and she complained because she wanted to compensate him for saving her the previous day. He told her she literally brought him to the city and helped him enter. She accepted, and they sat in the park to try out a game. Afterward, they tried another food item, but a rude boy crashed into Xena and stained her clothes. Satu asked her if there was a place to clean the stain, and just then, a hooded girl appeared and offered to remove it. She took them to an alley and cast a water spell that left Xena soaked, so Satu averted his gaze to avoid being forced to marry her. The hooded lady dried herself using wind magic, and once she was paid for her service, Satu felt curious. He asked Xena how she cast her spells, and she explained the theory as if she were a musical expert. He learned it took her 3 years to learn how to use magic, and the process involved illustrated books. While her goal was to learn to fly, she asked Satu why he wanted to learn magic, and he said he wished to use it as an alternative for bathing. Hearing him, she laughed out loud for having his priorities mixed up. Afterward, Satu bought an ointment, and Xena took him to see the Great Wall. There, he obtained a grand view of the outside world and asked her if it was acceptable for an outsider to see the military operations. But she told him not to worry because wyverns were the only problems they faced in the city. Afterward, she took him to the temple and showed him the image of the past hero who defeated the Demon King. Satu learned that the hero's sword, granted by a goddess, glowed blue when wielded by the hero if the sword accepted the bearer. Suddenly, Una, the saint of the temple, appeared, saying it was not necessarily good for the sacred sword to accept someone because that individual would have to fight against the demon lord. She greeted Xena and introduced herself to Satu, but when Una called him Xena's boyfriend, she became agitated trying to clear the air, though Una retired to attend to a group. Upon leaving the temple and renting a transport, Satu noticed he had acquired many titles after defeating the reptiles in the dragon's nest. They arrived at the edge of the city, and Xena showed him a magical device that brought down flying beasts and dragons, but she explained how a dragon once entered and destroyed the replica. Leaving the topic of the demon lord, Satu asked if the hero took care of it, but she explained there were no hero summonings at that time since the last group was the one that defeated the demon lord 66 years ago. On their way, they saw a mob surrounding a group of bound demi-humans and the leader, a scammer selling rocks to the masses to stone the accused for being relatives of demons. Xena quickly stepped in, and Satu used distant vision to observe and scan the area. After noticing the heavy man was not the leader, he located Urs and noted he was the owner of the slaves. Knowing that Urs's groups were instigators and swindlers, Satu acted by stealthily eliminating the men mixed into the crowd. Then he approached Urs, knocked him unconscious before leaving him in front of the crowd, and informed them that Urs was a fraud and the planner of the entire matter. Satu mixed in some lies, and with his false accuser skill, convinced the crowd regarding who the demon worshipper actually was. To his surprise, Urs woke up and acted as if possessed, and a demon emerged from him, eliminating the heavy priest who was his assistant. Seeing the atrocity, everyone except Satu and Xena fled. Satu ran toward the slaves to get them out, but they said Urs ordered them to stay still or the collar would tighten around their necks. While Satu broke the chains attached to the pavement, the demon announced he would make a feast for his master. At that moment, he cast a teleportation spell, and everyone in his range, including Xena and her military forces, was sent to a labyrinth. There, Satu presented himself to the slaves, and after seeing they had no names, he gave one to each. Afterward, he handed them towels and ointment to clean their wounds and then gave them snacks to recover their strength. Right after, he scanned the room, and after gaining the topographic map skill, he scanned the entire labyrinth and discovered there were other people on different layers. Unfortunately, the one-eyed demon did not appear anywhere. The slaves, seeing how worried he was, offered to act as his pawns and begged him to take them along, so he calmed them and assured them they would go with him. Seeing that Liza was the only one with combat skills, Satu handed her a short sword and instructed them to attack only when he gave the command. Upon leaving the room, he instructed Pochi and Tama to inform him immediately if they detected anything suspicious while Liza protected the rear. Pochi quickly reported that she smelled blood ahead, so he thanked her before instructing them to wait behind. Looking ahead, he saw a monster devouring a person, so he wondered if they should wait in the previous room for help, but Liza surprised him by suggesting they eliminate the monster or pass by while it ate. He was impressed by her intuition despite their low levels, so he resolved to act and shot the ant monster with his weapon, unlocking accuracy and shooting skills. Like a marksman, he delivered consecutive shots that pierced the monster's skin and eliminated it cleanly. Impressed, Liza asked him the name of his strange weapon, and he called it a magic gun, asking her not to inform anyone. Shortly after, he cut the monster's limb and attached a knife, maximizing the weapon's capacity and delivering it to Liza, who pulled out the monster's core, claiming it was valuable. While Liza handed Pochi the short sword, Satu shot at their chains to grant them better mobility, and together they continued the exploration of the dungeon. On his way, he checked his status and saw that their experience did not rise, unlike his own, so he instructed Tama to collect precious rocks the size of cores. Based on his instructions, they easily defeated a giant slug. Then he told Pochi to follow him down a passage. She delivered the rocks to Tama, and they entered to fight the monsters. Pochi lost her composure immediately upon seeing how many enemies there were, and began to cry for a savior like a princess in distress. Fortunately, Satu eliminated the monsters in time and reached her quickly, then corrected her by saying it was acceptable to flee if there was danger, but she must not panic so as not to lose presence points. He patted her head and unlocked the Tamer skill, which could be useful in private moments. They continued for a while, eliminating monsters in their path, and Satu noticed their levels rose. After harvesting many cores, they ran out of energy, so Satu told them to rest and offered them dried meat. After trying his meat, he instructed them to sleep for 3 hours, and after that, they resumed their exploration. In the process, Satu accumulated many skills and even let the girls handle some monsters alone, and he also allowed Liza to fry some frog meat for dinner. They continued their cycle and once found a slime, so Satu tried to use fire magic, but after noticing there was no effect, Liza showed him how it was done by stabbing its core, causing the slime to melt. He watched the area and suddenly noticed a trap nearby, so he informed the others, but a level 40 undead beast appeared and leaped toward him aggressively. Satu, while holding it back, placed a trap nearby, then kicked the monster toward it, causing it to fall into oblivion. On their way, they noticed a group bound by spider silk, so Satu instructed his girls to get them out. 2 of the rescued men were grateful, but the last one yelled at Pochi not to touch him and to hand over the knife to free himself. Satu saw that Pochi instinctively refused, saying the knife was for him, so he told her to return to his side and refused to save the unpleasant individual. Jin Belton, a noble, put the foolish man in his place before helping him. As they went deeper into the labyrinth, they felt monsters attacking a human group, so they ran to help. The rude young man from before tried to test his strength by charging at a slime, but he failed gravely and was almost devoured, though thanks to Pochi, he obtained more action time. There, he understood his mistake and decided not to look down on demi-humans again. Satu saw Xena being treated inappropriately, so he saved her immediately, and she leaped into his arms affectionately. Una interrupted them and asked Satu for help to defeat the monsters, so he told them how Liza told him to eliminate the slimes. Upon hearing Satu mention a lady's name, Xena acted like a jealous wife, but Una told her to leave it for later. While the people tried to exit, Satu presented his girls to Xena, and Liza thanked her for saving her from the mob earlier. Tama then pointed to a strange wall, but the soldiers saw a treasure chest and tried to loot it. To their surprise, the one-eyed demon appeared, and the humans relied on Jin Belton to launch a heavy flame to burn the demon. Unfortunately, the demon put them in a trance and they began to attack each other. But fortunately, Satu, who resisted the ability, intervened by knocking out his girls before they hurt many people. Belton launched his fire magic, but the demon bathed in the flames as if he were at the beach. That was when Satu learned it used a protection spell, so he wondered if he should stand out by fighting it. He was suddenly attacked by a beast and fell through the camouflaged wall, and once away from the others, he pulled out the sacred sword and cut the beast with extreme ease. He put on a mask and returned to help them, disguised as a stranger who instructed them to leave the demon in his hands. To their surprise, he threw a rock at the demon and knocked it out, which seemed strange since everyone had bombarded the monster with attacks to no avail. As the one-eyed demon fell to the ground, it used its last magic to invoke the Demon Lord, and the massive monstrosity consumed it as a reward. It immediately used its wings to send them flying, but Satu, who had acquired wind resistance, caught Xena and Una, then unsheathed the sacred blade against the Demon King. As soon as the Demon King saw him, it called him a hero and grew enraged with him, strengthening itself by 300%. Satu looked at the blade and noticed it did not glow blue, so he concluded he was not the hero. The demon also wondered what was happening with him and began by firing a beam at Satu, but Satu immediately gained resistance not only to the attack but also to being stunned. The Demon Lord tried to slash Satu with its claws, but Satu acquired poison resistance, and this impressed the monster. After resisting petrification, Satu decided to empower the sword with fire magic, but seeing that the Demon Lord was going to demolish all the humans attacking it, Satu fired his weapon to draw its attention and remembered when Xena informed him that magic or magical weapons were the only way to defeat demons. So he fully upgraded the fire skill, switched to his axe, and threw it at the Demon Lord. The attack scorched the beast, and it remained confused after witnessing the supposed hero, who should be a martial artist, use magic. Without losing time, Satu charged against the Demon Lord, and while firing the same spell again, he pulled a katana from his arsenal and slashed it. Noting that one of his titles was God Slayer, the Demon Lord vanished into nothingness, and Satu gained the title of Labyrinth Conqueror and Demon Hunter. Once they left the labyrinth, the female slaves ran toward him, and he told the worried people to accompany him. After the foolish man who mistreated the demi-humans appeared and apologized to them, Xena ran into Satu's arms, and he embraced her, apologizing for worrying her. Then he looked at his panel and saw all the acquired titles, but he focused mainly on the heroic one. Satu reunited with the slave master he rescued earlier with Belton, and officially acquired the demi-humans as his servants. The slave master spoke to him about 2 more ladies, and even though Satu was not interested in them, when he saw Lulu, a striking beauty, and Arisa, a slave who used Japanese expressions, he was intrigued. So he whispered in Japanese to Lulu and then to Arisa, and he saw Arisa touch her hair thinking there was a spider, which helped him confirm that she understood Japanese. Before going to the town, his other slaves presented themselves to the 2 girls, and Arisa created a bond with them despite it being her first time interacting with demi-humans. Once Arisa clung to Sato, Pochi and the others did the same, and while they went home, Liza carried her small comrades. Although Satu noted he could not ask Arisa about her knowledge of Japanese with the rest present, he stopped and asked them what they would like to eat, and everyone voted for their preferred food. Confused, he asked why they liked meat so much, so they told him how, until they met him, they survived by eating leftovers. Moved, Satu took them to a restaurant where they were offered grilled mutton and entrails. When they tried it, the slaves fell in love with the dish, and even Arisa wondered why he was spoiling her with affection. He watched them eat and then observed their clothes, so he went out to look for some, and upon returning, he saw roasted chicken and remembered Liza wanted to try it, so he bought some and returned. Just then, he noticed some destitute demi-humans and handed them the chicken pieces before returning to his shop. When trying on the outfits, the girls were euphoric, but they lacked a mobile phone to upload their photos. When Satu and the girls returned to the inn, Martha and her mother were happy to see him, but they noticed he needed more space for them to rest. Unfortunately, they had no rooms. After seeing the human looks of disdain toward his girls, Satu ordered Martha to take Pochi and Tama to his room while he looked for another place to spend the night, but Arisa surprised him by charming everyone to soften their gazes. Doing so made them realize they had a usable shed, so Satu went there and prepared a soft bed for the demi-humans, and before leaving, he advised them not to eliminate any troublesome person who crossed their path. Also, if they felt overwhelmed, he was just a call away. When Satu returned to his room, Lulu offered to take his coat, but he said he could manage alone. Through the interaction, he concluded that she feared men. Turning around, he saw they had removed their outer garments, but fortunately, his poker face skill prevented him from showing embarrassment. It took him a few seconds to process what they were doing, but then he dismissed them, and they were stunned that he was not like the men in criminal records. Lulu began to cry because it was the first kindness she had received, so Satu comforted her by offering a blanket and telling her she would not have to go through such hardships again. With that, he turned off the light and slept in the other bed, but just then, he gained psychic magic and resistance to the ability, plus night vision. Consequently, when he opened his eyes, he saw Arisa sitting in front of him acting alluringly. She kissed him, and his mind almost went blank while he saw his hands trying to embrace her, but he regained his senses and forbade her from using such magic. He remembered how she used it with the guests to reduce their disdain for demi-humans, but he wondered why she used it on him. Left with no option, she confessed her feelings and how she fell for his charm at first sight, but seeing that he wanted to maintain his composure, she chose to obtain his affection by force using magic. There she confessed she was Japanese like him and reincarnated into the current world in the same way. She assumed he was summoned as a hero and called him the second Japanese person she knew in this world. Confused, he asked what she meant, so she elaborated, explaining that Lulu's great-grandfather was Japanese. Regarding the rules behind reincarnation and transmigration, Arisa told him that older people who pass away on Earth are sometimes reborn to start start their lives as babies. However, transmigrated individuals are summoned via magic to this current world and retain their appearance. Satu recalled his situation and noted he was an anomaly in the rules. Arisa felt curious, so she asked if he was in a summoning circle when he appeared, but he denied it. She also questioned whether he started out strong or was superpowered, but he told her he started with little to no skill, and this made her realize he was different. Curious, he asked how she became a slave, so she told him her story almost all night. The next morning, Martha opened his room inviting Xena, who came to visit him, and called her his girlfriend. They were fascinated looking at his perfect features, but they saw Lulu barely covered in a separate bed and, worst of all, Arisa lying next to him. Xena jumped to hasty conclusions, accused Satu of playing with two people, and ran out of the room. Even Martha apologized timidly for interrupting, and for the first time in Satu's life, he experienced girl troubles. He quickly put on his robe and jumped out the window to stop Xena. Then he spoke with her while explaining she had the wrong idea. He tried to get out of the mess, but Xena remembered her friend saying that men were unpleasant, causing him to try harder. He began giving her compliments, and Xena fell for his words, so he took her to try on clothes, and she gladly accepted. When they returned, Arisa appeared and was glad they cleared up the misunderstanding, but Satu glared at her before ordering her to call the others. While she retired, he recalled what they spoke about the night before. He learned she was a princess who tried to use the knowledge of her past life to her advantage, but things that were going well failed, and soon their neighboring country took control. He could note someone was behind it but could not identify them. What she did then was escape and join a slave group to avoid execution. Currently, the other slaves appeared, but Lulu lagged behind at the end due to her poor health. Satu handed Arisa a bag of coins and told her to buy clothes for the others while Liza protected them from bad people. Before leaving, Satu allowed Arisa to use her ability for the good of others. Now he observed his female slaves going to the market to have fun, watching over them like a protective father. Alone with Xena, she asked him what he wanted to do. Then he said he wanted to go to an inn that allowed demi-humans, so she suggested accompanying him, and he accepted. Shortly after, they went to an employment office and met Nadi, the manager, and Satu told her he wanted to find property to rent. She showed him papers and advised going to places in the western part of the town because it was cheap, although there was some criminality. He told her his budget and she showed options. The first was a place where the previous owner was killed, the second was a red light district, and the third was above a criminal guild hideout. Satu rejected all three and offered to drop by at night if Nadi had other options. For now, he asked Xena where she would like to go, and to his surprise, Nadi spoke for her, suggesting the flea market that opened in the plaza. She played the perfect role of an ally and whispered to Xena not to lose her chance to get his attention. While checking out the town, they encountered the girls and saw Arisa, who had dyed her hair to look different. Satu took them to a merchant and bought cards to teach them to read. Arisa asked Satu if he would attend the upcoming play, and when he said yes, she handed him funds to buy tickets. Then he apologized to Xena for ruining their date and took her to a jewelry shop where she admired some earrings. Arisa intervened as always and asked for a pair, so Satu told her to also get one for Lulu. He observed Xena and wished she could say what she wanted like Arisa, and right after the girls took her to their seats, Satu bought the earrings Xena liked. Moments later, they watched the play, which was a different version of a classic romantic story. The little girls fell asleep since love was complex, and Liza focused on the food smell surrounding the stage. Regarding Xena, she paid close attention and almost cried over the plot. After the play, Satu went for snacks and helped a lady who narrated the original script of the play to him. His ladies arrived soon, and Arisa and Xena spoke about their views on the play. Arisa raised the tone, asking Xena if she would choose to marry someone promised by her family or Satu, but Xena tried to escape the question. Arisa did not let her escape and told her that if she kept hesitating, they would steal her man. It was a delicate topic, and thanks to Satu, the matter dropped. He changed the situation by telling them to buy meat, and all of them ran to buy. Alone with Xena, they returned but found Iona, Rue, and Lelio, who looked exhausted. The soldiers explained how they found were-rats that crossed borders and suspected they attracted the fang ants. Frustrated, Rue swore to cut off were-rat heads if she found them. Xena healed them before informing Satu that she would go to treat the wounded. But the girls appeared with a dead ant, and Satu sensed more heading to the city, so he ordered the girls to ready their weapons. He instructed all of them and informed them about the monsters, so they took positions and waited like a divine judgment. In seconds, the monsters tried to enter the city, but the upper barrier prevented it. Left with no choice, they went through the gates, but as anticipated, the soldiers took care of many. Satu and his girls displayed skills and greatly reduced the ant population. Sensing some, Satu ran to the employment building and eliminated the ants there. Suddenly, Bolin, the manager, a frost spirit, used vines to pull Nadi from the basement and complained when she embraced him after Satu. She introduced him to Satu, and Bolin explained that elves and frost spirits were distinct, and the confusion started since the first hero called the elves. Satu apologized for Odi, the confusion, then left the building, saying they would find a solution to his rental later. When Xena saw him, she ran toward him and tripped, but he caught her in time. She apologized because she had to detect other ants in nearby villages villages, so they would not spend the rest of the day together. Liza returned, and a man, claiming to work for the government, demanded she sell the cores obtained in the labyrinth to him as a proxy. Satu suspected it was a fraud, pulled out a receipt, and told the man he had the number of cores and would have the amount paid along with his identification. The man complained at first, but Satu called it normal procedure, so he wrote an amount and number on the receipt. But Satu did the math, and it did not add up, so he spoke up and asked for the official seal. Coerced, the man became very frightened. That night, Mosa served Satu and his girls a feast to thank them for protecting the inn. He saw that Lulu was out of bed and wondered if she was better. Later, he went to the pharmacy. But on the way, the individuals he saved took him to an entertainment district to have a good time, and the ladies ended up exhausting his resources. While walking, he noticed a somber owl feather and a stalker in the alley, so he pulled out his weapon and disposed of them. Reaching the origin, he saw two figures. One, a wounded were-rat who begged him to take care of the princess, so he applied first aid and took them to Nadi's building. Noticing that she and Bolin were sleeping, Satu picked their locks before carrying the figures inside. Hearing the noise, Nadi and Bolin appeared, and seeing it was Satu, they relaxed, so he showed those he brought, hoping they would help heal them. Nadi saw the were-rat and recognized him as the famous were-rat knight. They were curious and viewed the second figure, discovering it was Mia, the elven princess. While Mia slept on the couch, Nadi was surprised by her being an elf, but Bolin went to check her when Mia looked at Satu. She saw dazzling lights surrounding him and called him a cute boy before going back to sleep. Then the rat man, Misa, began to cough up blood. Nadi ran for the ex-priest Horn, who lived in back streets. However, Satu said it was dangerous for her to go alone and ran after her. The next morning, Arisa scolded Satu, asking why he went to an entertainment house while having a princess at home, but he threw his jacket over her head to get her to calm down. Nonetheless, the girl began to smell it, and when she noticed the scent of wild animals, she threw it away. She began accusing him of being a beast hunter, so he explained that he rescued demi-humans in danger while looking for medicine for Lulu. When she asked if it was a girl, he said it was an elder, but this only worsened her fantasies, talking about scenes with demi-human grandmothers. When Lulu woke up, he asked how she was, and she confirmed she felt better than the previous day. He handed her the pain medicine and decided to go to the general store after breakfast. A while later, he arrived at the shop and asked Nadi about Misa and Mia, and she said they were sleeping. She also informed him that Mia was only exhausted and, according to the manager, had symptoms of prolonged magic energy deprivation. In that condition, the manager's practical magic took no effect. Scanning Mia's status, he noticed she was over 100 years old but small in elven years, and observed her energy was recovering gradually. Being poor to afford a magic energy potion, Nadi suggested taking her to a place rich in energy like a ley line. However, she admitted it was almost impossible since the only places were the castle or the Dragon Valley. Just then, Satu's hearing activated, and he said he heard noise upstairs, meaning they woke up. Upon arriving, Nadi introduced herself as a worker and Bolin as manager. She informed Mia that the one who saved her was Satu and invited him to say hello. After the brief introduction, Mia asked if he saw spirits, but he joked saying he was not an anime protagonist. Nadi explained that only those with the skill could. Knowing Mia was hungry, Nadi asked Satu to stay with her while she made porridge. After she left, Satu asked what spirits were, but she answered something incoherent, making him note their communication was not enough to reach her. He changed course, asking how to say good day in her language, and immediately after she told him, he received a notification informing him that he acquired the elven language skill. Upon arriving home, he saw the girls playing with the educational cards and tried to join with the newly gained game skill, but all of them turned out to be poor players, so he gave them a lesson. During the lesson, Martha arrived and asked Uni to join in chores, but Uni said she already finished thanks to the help of Tama and Pochi. At lunch, Satu spoke about Mia and Misa, and they begged to see them, so he promised to take them later. Arriving at the inn, they presented themselves to Mia and began to admire her like a princess. Satu told them to look after her, but when he tried to leave, she caught him, making him wonder when his charm grew so powerful. Returning to the room, Nadi asked if he had a merchant carriage, but he said his horses ran away. She recommended buying one from a retired merchant, but Satu declined because he did not know how to drive carriages. However, Lulu informed him that she had driven before, so he asked her to teach him and told Nadi he would buy it. When he asked the price, he understood his cover might fall, so he scanned a carriage nearby to estimate the price and handed over coins. Soon Satu and the girls camped in the forest, and he used his new skills to make everything easier. When the girls complained that the kettle was angry, he explained it made noise to show the water was boiling, and Arisa gave them a scientific lesson. While he watched them play on the grass, the assisted demi-humans brought fruit. Pochi and Tama began eating the fruit, and Satu handed the dog people dried meat to take away, which made them happy. Hours later, Satu and Lulu sat in their carriage, and Arisa suggested using it to take Mia home. Upon asking where Mia lived, Nadi said the elven village was to the southeast, so Satu decided to speak with the manager. After Lulu's driving lessons, he found the rest of the girls, who informed him that Mia was doing well thanks to potions. Entering Misa's room, Bolin told him how they were attacked. Hearing screams, he went down and saw a dark mage appeared. Misa charged against this imitator of powerful mages, but he activated a strange spell that knocked him down, and Satu noticed it was psychic magic. The spell began to overwhelm him, but he noticed Arisa was immune, so he copied her resistance skill, regaining mental control. Scanning the hooded figure, he saw his name was Zen, and noticed it was the name of the hero from the play he saw days ago. Zen said to Mia that he would take her, but Satu walked in front of her and presented himself before the villain. Zen had no interest in a merchant, but called him a hero descendant, admitting his resistance to fear magic was impressive. While Satu doubted being a hero descendant, the villain continued saying he thought of letting him live, but changed his mind upon being challenged. He released a strange gas, but Satu did not flinch and said he would not let him take Mia without her consent. He asked the villain to leave, but Zen refused, so Satu charged to strike him. However, his hand went through him, and Zen caught him using shadow magic. While the hero hung there, Zen praised his quick movements, and he admitted not having seen a mage control shadows like that before. As the subject continued his monologue, Arisa grew angry and fired a blast that exposed his undead face. She called him a wraith, but he told her not to associate him with low-level undead while sending shadow tentacles after her, but Satu destroyed them. When Bolin blocked tentacles, Satu took the opportunity to free himself and struck the shadows with an enhanced fist. This stunned Zen, since only magical objects interacted with his shadows. When Satu noticed Arisa prepared a unique skill, he asked Zen to introduce himself, although his system already informed him he was a maximum rank undead. Called the Undead King, Zen praised his way of moving despite being a merchant, but Arisa asked Satu to move away before launching a powerful light beam. However, the Undead King resisted the attack and, seeing the color of her hair, noticed she was reincarnated. Arisa fell exhausted due to a lack of energy, and Satu tried to shoot the undead, but his magic bullets did no damage. Zen warned him to prevent Arisa from using her unique skill so as not to be a toy of gods, and caught Mia with tentacles to leave. Satu tried to save her, but Zen's tentacles reached a state he could not touch. As the mage disappeared into his portal, he told Satu to visit the cradle if he did not fear death to test his limits of wisdom and courage. When Liza and Lulu arrived, Satu told them to treat the others and promised to return with Mia before jumping into the portal. He appeared in a river dimension where he noticed his endurance was depleting and searched desperately for Mia without finding her. He tried to scan the area, but the system said no map was available, making him burst with rage and shattering the illusory world. He appeared in a strange building where Zen expressed surprise that Satu escaped his prison. Satu explained he achieved it thanks to a light amulet he possessed, which made him immune to dark magic. However, Zen said the test must be fair, and only those who conquer the cradle would reach his room. He revealed he could not die while having the divine blessing, but Satu prioritized saving Mia and charged. Nonetheless, the Undead King teleported him to another part of the cradle where he saw a large tree. He noted Mia was there, used his map, and ran to the door where he read dungeon instructions. Upon entering, a monster attacked, but he defeated it easily and spent hours destroying beasts and climbing the tower until reaching a special room where he saw a tree spirit called Dryad complaining of a lack of energy. He noted defeating her would be a shortcut, but she began asking to test his affection. He offered food, but she wanted energy and kissed him until filling his mana tank. Afterward, she gave him passage to a special room where he discovered the one who created the cradle was named Trazayuya. After leaving the room, he asked Dryad to take him near the boss room, so she sent him to floor 100 where he saw female clones with large attributes. Scanning them, he noticed they were homunculi and informed him he would only advance by defeating the giant golem. He shot the monster easily, so one of the girls charged while her twins escaped, but he knocked her out without gender distinction. After, he moved to a room where he saw another Dryad who explained she and her clones were connected before sending him to floor 118. There, he destroyed monsters and soon reached the boss room. However, Zen said he would not face him but another powerful enemy for the right to use a sacred sword. Just then, homunculi and golems appeared, and Zen powered them up before disappearing with Mia. The monsters fired arrows, but he dodged, so they powered up weapons and marched to finish him. While the golems charged, Satu summoned a spear and destroyed them one after another with precision. The homunculus girls tried to finish him, but he knocked out too easily. The others tried to bring him down with arrows, but he resisted the attack and performed a spinning kick that threw the other two clones far away. While the girls struggled to get up, he asked why they fought for a master who treated them as pawns, so they responded in unison that it was their desire. One fired arrows that he dodged by running, but another clone ambushed him and broke his weapon. She charged with heavy sword strikes, but he deflected the attacks before defeating her with a powerful kick. He noted only homunculus number 1 remained with a sword and shield. She moved toward him exhausted, but he stopped her attack with his fingers before knocking her out with a strike to the abdomen. While losing consciousness, she begged Satu to fulfill her master's wish before fainting. Shortly after, Satu arrived at the boss room where Zen handed him the sacred sword, but Satu asked what he wanted, and Zen hoped to find a hero who could kill him, since in his past life he died due to noble injustice and reincarnated as an infant with respectable parents. For a time, he thought everything would be fine, but a noble in love with his wife imprisoned and executed him unjustly under false pretenses. However, he woke up as an undead and executed his revenge, destroying the family of the man who killed him. Afterward, he sought means to die definitively and reunite with his wife, but the divine blessing did not allow it since neither exorcisms nor sacred swords ended him. After narrating his story, Zen asked Satu to strike him so as not to become a demon lord in spirit, and he remembered the words of Homunculus number 1, which motivated him to fire a powerful sword slash that destroyed the undead king forever. After vanishing, evil spirits appeared that bothered the hero, but he scared them away. Just then, the system announced the building would self-destruct, so he ran toward Mia and gave her a potion. When she woke up, he asked if she could stop the sequence, but she admitted she could not do it. Looking at controls, Satu noticed Zen never intended to sacrifice Mia since there was a method for her escape. However, he noted other methods were locked, and although he could teleport with Mia, he was worried about what would happen to the homunculus girls. Seeing that 1 minute remained, he ran faster than lightning to the lower room and placed Mia with the girls. He told her to escape with them since he had someone else to save. He promised he would return alive. After teleporting, she ran through the collapsing building and jumped until reaching the room where homunculus number 7 rested. He carried her unconscious body to the Dryad's chamber and asked to send them out. She asked for seeds and magic in exchange, so he delivered the seed sack from the dog people. She said she needed 3 times the magic from before, but he assured her it was no problem before transferring his magical power to her with a kiss. Afterward, she teleported them out of the tree, but a large wave of salt suddenly appeared. Satu invited Dryad to come, but she said she was fine. She said she could reappear as long as there were trees nearby. Hearing this, he gave thanks and ran swiftly. While thinking of an exit, he saw a lake and remembered the girls talking about boiling water, which gave him an idea. Running to the river, he fired bursts of fire that allowed him to escape the salt tide and gained a survivor title. Soon he reunited with the girls, and seeing Arisa's tearful face, he remembered the undead king advising that she not use her special reincarnation powers so as not to end up like him. He patted her head to calm her, but Pochi and Tama also cried, so he thanked them for worrying. Just then, Mia arrived and thanked him for his help with a kiss on the forehead, unlocking the Friend of the Elves title. When the homunculus girls asked about their master, Satu said he had passed away, so they submitted to him as their new master. However, they said they needed time to take Zen's wedding ring to his wife's grave, and after a game of chance, they decided that number 7 would accompany Satu. Since calling her by a number sounded strange, he named her Nana, which means 7 in Japanese, and she joined them returning to the kingdom. The next day, he reunited with Xena, who cried over how worried she was. He handed her some special earrings before saying he would go to transport Mia to her village and swore to return to her. Shortly after, Satu and the girls advanced in their carriage, but Xena pursued them and asked to join the trip next spring. Days later, Satu and his group camped and had lunch together. Satu praised Liza, Lulu, and Nana for preparing such food, but noticed Mia was selective with food and asked her to stop. She explained using tender language that elves do not eat meat, and the girls helped her eat it. Seeing Liza cooking more, he said they would not be able to eat more, but she explained it was for the journey. Hearing this, Arisa decided to store it using her item box, and when Satu asked what it was, she explained it was like a video game inventory, but they had to use it carefully due to mana. Satu noted it was different from his storage, and noted he did not know the limit of his own, so he decided to review it with time. Soon, Satu told the girls to prepare for their assigned roles before continuing the journey, and they spent hours preparing together. While attending to the horse, Arisa asked if he could touch up the cushions because the roughness made her uncomfortable, and he suggested fixing all the ones they had at once. After gathering the cushions, Satu and Arisa put fabric on them to make them more comfortable and even manufactured a collectible doll in the process. Nana was captivated and asked to keep it, and he handed it to her, but this made the other girls jealous, so he made dolls for everyone. After traveling for days, they rested in another field, and when Liza suggested leaving soon, he decided to stay longer so they could rest. He assigned Pochi and Tama a special search mission, and Arisa joined. After they left, he saw Mia playing a melody with a leaf and praised her skills. Nana called her princess while asking for instructions to play the leaf, but Mia refused. Satu explained she did not like being called princess. Hearing it, she agreed to call her Mia from then on, and Mia spent hours training them to play the leaf. When Satu tried, he gained music and craftsmanship skills, but the girls worried because his music sounded very bad. Noticing this, he raised his music level to the maximum and managed to produce high-level melodies, but Mia still rejected him and took the leaf away. Arisa took him to a cliff and showed a structure called the Stone Torii that seemed familiar to him. Suddenly, he saw visions of mysterious girls saying they would always be with him and had a memory of his childhood. He asked a girl if reincarnation was real. The girl said yes, but it was not enough, and Satu noticed the Torii shrine was the same one that was near his grandfather's house, wondering if the girl was a friend from the past. He saw a vision of a girl in shrine clothes dancing, but before hearing her message, Arisa brought him back to reality. She yelled at him for falling asleep at the edge of a precipice where he could fall, but his brain searched for the mystery behind the shrine girl. He remembered he made a game with a shrine background as a student, wondering if the girl was a character from his game. When Arisa interrupted him, his ability alerted him to a travel gate in the Tori, and when he told Arisa, she asked him to fix it, but he said it was impossible. Returning to the camp, Pochi said she hunted a boar, but he worried about how dirty she was. Then Tama arrived with a small sleeping fox, and just when she patted it, it woke up and fled. She apologized to Satu for not catching anything, but he patted her head, saying he was happy she was fine. When their stomachs rumbled, Arisa brought several bowls of food that they began to eat. Soon they resumed the journey, and while the girls enjoyed themselves, Satu studied shadow magic. He decided to learn everyday magic afterward. While studying everyday magic, he felt his hand touching something soft, and upon opening his eyes, he saw he had been touching Nana's chest. Arisa and Mia scolded him, so he apologized, explaining he was studying for a spell he wanted Mia to try later. Just then, he received a notification that more ratmen were in the area, so he asked Arisa to stop the carriage. Mia ran to embrace her rat friends, and this confused Arisa, so Satu explained they served as a decoy to help her escape. He announced they would camp there, but the ratmen asked to go elsewhere due to pending matters. After they left, Satu and the girls hunted deer, and noticing they were dirty again, he gave Mia permission to cast a washing spell he taught them, cleaning all of them. That night, Satu experimented with his storage abilities and noticed they retained the temperature of what was stored. The next day, the team reunited with the were-rats, who finished burying their fallen companions, so Mia sang beautiful farewell songs. The following day at the bar, Satu tipped a girl for bringing his food, and she blushed deeply. He intervened in a bar fight by offering drinks for everyone, gaining respect from those present. Upon preparing to leave, the maid returned and clung to him so tightly that her charms interrupted his brain function before leading him to a private room to spend intimate time. The next morning, Arisa and Mia scolded him for being unfaithful, but he did not explain himself because he knew he was only their guardian. Just then, they saw a man striking a commoner, and upon passing, Satu noticed he looked at him strangely. After leaving, Liza revealed it was the swindler who tried to take their cores in Siryu City. Satu handed the victim a potion that cured his fractured arm, so he thanked him for his help. Returning to the carriage, Arisa complained that they would exhaust potions, so he decided to learn alchemy to make them himself. Soon he prepared equipment in the forest and performed transmutation to create a batch of high-quality potions. However, the system informed him that the potion would degrade if not stored in specialized vials, and noted the previous vials had magic circles. Noticing materials were missing, he scanned the area and found the nearest town in Kuhano, deciding to go the next day. That night, while everyone slept, Satu and Arisa experimented with their new tool, but its excessive mana output caused the device to explode. The girls came out thinking they were attacked. The next morning, Satu noticed blank spots on the map and decided to check them to prevent the girls from entering danger. Minutes later, they arrived at the village where a man guided them to an alchemy shop. Upon entering, he saw a hooded figure fleeing, and his slave followed him with a heavy bag. Entering the shop, he saw a lady named Lenmaris and said he wanted to buy elixir for potions. The lady said she sold 3 for 1 silver coin each and explained there was no discount due to a lack of cores in the area. Since Satu had many cores gained, he requested other materials, knowing she would ask for a core exchange. However, upon asking for vials, she said someone bought the entire inventory because they had an official order from another city. Hearing this, Satu understood they were the individuals from before, and she advised buying directly from the pottery workshop. After leaving the shop, he told Liza to join the others because he wanted to visit a place in private, and she offered to follow him, but he told her to make dinner for the others. A while later, he used a disguise and exchanged cores for wind magic scrolls. That night, Satu practiced the spells from the scrolls and added them to his inventory before going to the dark areas of the map. Upon patrolling the forest, he passed a barrier and noticed something was wrong. After scanning, the system informed him he was in the Forest of Illusions, but he thought the name did not fit because it looked normal. However, he noticed people running toward him and understood the witch knew he entered her domain. A earth spell tried to trap him, but he dodged and saw a young girl alongside armored knights. The knights tried to attack him, but he dodged while explaining to the witch that he entered her domain by mistake. When the witch attacked with earth magic again, he destroyed it easily and said he would accept being punished for entering by receiving a single blow. Just then, a giant bird landed, and the old woman on top introduced herself as the Witch of the Forest of Illusions. In her hideout, she apologized for her apprentice's behavior, thinking he was an emissary, but he explained he was not. While Inan cooked a potion, the witch explained they made a pact with the Count of Kuhano, promising to deliver 300 vials of special potion twice a year in exchange for keeping outlaws away from the forest. Stating his interest in making potions, she decided to teach him a special recipe, but asked to help deliver a letter in exchange. Afterward, she launched a colored light spell that guided him out of the forest. The next morning, he noticed Inan was pursued by bad individuals and tried to save her, but the criminals destroyed her carriage and fled with potions. Satu noticed only 120 of the 300 remained and tried to explain it to the Count's official named Quirk. This individual told him to maintain the pact, delivering the 300 before sunset. Satu noticed something suspicious since the swindler Doshin was was by his side. He understood Quirk was trying to destroy the Forest of Illusions. After using negotiation tactics, Quirk agreed to let him deliver potions of the same quality as the witches. Upon gathering materials, Inan informed him that the potions were useless without the vials, and noticed Doshin planned everything. Upon informing a potter that they needed 180 vials by sunset, the man said it was impossible, but Satu clarified he only needed him to lend his place and kiln. After thinking about it, the potter agreed to help and invited them in to start the challenge. After leaving, Satu told his girls to help manufacture the vials and asked Mia and Arisa to help Inan. During the process, the girls failed to make vials, but Satu proved to be an expert, making many perfect vials on the first attempt. However, the potter said the real problem was the drying, which took 5 days, and mentioned thick vials needed a month or they would explode in the kiln. Hearing this, Satu understood it could be fixed by controlling the clay's moisture, so he created a special spell that Mia cast over a vial, making it dry immediately. The potter praised her and told the others to do the rest to finish. They spent hours manufacturing vials and drying them with the spell, while Inan prepared the potion. Hours later, Inan thanked everyone for helping her finish the magic potion, and the potter said the vials would be ready by sunset since they only had to cool. Finding that Inan's hat was a bird, Nana asked to have it as a pet, but Satu refused, and the system informed him it was Inan's familiar. Then, Doshin arrived with thugs and asked if they made vials without permission, but the potter explained he only taught pottery because the bowls were not for sale. Doshin did not accept this and decided to destroy the kiln. Despite complaints from the girls, he ordered his thugs to destroy the kiln, and they proceeded to do so. While Arisa looked at the broken vials, Doshin retired, reminding them that they had to deliver 300 vials by sunset. The potter apologized to Satu, and Satu did the same for the damaged kilns. He asked for time alone with his girls, and while Inan cried, he asked if she could use her bird to communicate with the witch. Soon, Arisa noticed the broken pieces looked strange, and Satu revealed he used his tactics to replace the original vials with decoys before the attackers arrived. He assured them the main vials were safe in his personal item box. When she asked to pull them out, he summoned one inside the kiln, but it broke due to the temperature change. Thinking of ways to fix it, he remembered his temperature experiment with his storage, which gave him an idea. Hours later, Satu and Arisa reunited with the others and said the mission was a success. Arriving at Quirk's office, he told them to leave the city, assuming they did not have the delivery. However, Satu surprised him by asking to seal the delivery note, and his merchants confirmed they received 300 vials in good condition. This shocked Doshin. When the subject asked the trick, Satu explained it was through hard work, but Quirk refused to sign. Inan panicked over the sunset, but Satu assured her everything would be fine and asked again. Then the actual Count arrived and said he would sign the document because he did not support Quirk's bad actions. He told Quirk he knew his father, who was a vassal of a marquis when they were students, which was why he helped his family by giving him a position. But now he noticed he was mistaken because Quirk was not worthy of being an assistant, and the Count removed him from office. Quirk tried to attack with a lightning bolt, but the Count blocked it easily and drew his sword, announcing his execution. However, Satu quickly knocked out Doshin and Quirk using combat techniques. Then he told the Count he interfered to prevent the girls from witnessing a death. The next day, while they departed, the potter thanked Satu and informed him he had a better deal and kiln. The witch also offered thanks and handed him a special lamp she made with help. Hours later, Satu woke up with Nana asking for energy, but Arisa interrupted. He tried to touch her, but Arisa stopped him, and Nana explained she only asked to recalibrate her system. When Arisa asked why, Nana gave a complex technical explanation. Satu followed Nana's instructions, and upon doing so, he activated his magic, and Nana emitted sounds of pleasure, only for Liza to appear confused. That night, Pochi asked Satu for a story, and he told them a tale of demon hunters, managing to get them to sleep. The next morning, he saw the girls piled up on top of him, and soon they continued their journey. That is the end of this account.